What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Sinéad O'Connor. Once again, shout out to Adrian, as well as Amber, as well as Philip, as well as Herman, all the people who sent me Sinéad, and indeed, we're still just in the very earliest stage of this journey. So yeah, we're up to the last tune, however, of her debut album, A Lion in the Cobra, 1987, or The Lion and the Cobra, and it's Just Call Me Joe. Joe, it's one of those names that's used, like, you know, here it's like, because now I think of the British phrase, Joe Public. There's an analogous version here in the US, but now I'm blanking on what it is, because now I always just think of Joe Public. In any case, it's, you know, any random Joe. It's a name used to, like, as a placeholder for a specific person, and it's just like any person. It's an everyman. It's the name that you use when you want to refer to any stranger you might meet out on the street. Now, it could be a much more specific Joe, and to say just call me Joe, it implies that there might be a more detailed or lengthy name, but you're saying let's just, you know, reduce the complexity and just call me Joe. It's just a simple nickname, or perhaps a shortened version for Joseph. Either way, it's an interesting title, knowing that the vocalist is a female, so I'm wondering in what context this name might be relevant. In the moment, I'm forgetting if anyone said anything about this. Sometimes, you know, in different deep dives, people will mention something about a song in advance, and occasionally I'll remember, other times I don't, and then people will be like, you know, as I did mention, you know, weeks back. So I do apologize. There's just so much going on in the channel. It's hard to keep track of everything, though I will continue to try. But yeah, in the moment, I'm not remembering, you know, anything that someone said in advance, so let's just listen. This is Sinéad O'Connor. It's the final tune on her 1987 album, The Lion and the Cobra, and it's called Just Call Me Joe. spoken word part, like I'm only catching fragments. It's like technology, like electrical systems, traffic lights, satellites, lasers. And all the while, very psychedelic end to the song and album. Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny, when I was listening to the first part, ultimately, I was just trying to figure out if, you know, this is a specific character or if it is a more general. It sounds more general but specific to her, meaning like, you know, she doesn't want people to assume things about her. Don't call her something that implies a number of assumptions and perspectives and perhaps judgments or, you know, value judgments straight out of the gate. So don't call me sweetheart, because there's also sorts of connotations and even denotations that go with that are perhaps, you know, it's not your place to say that about me. You don't know me, and, you know, don't call me Mr., don't call me that, just call me Joe, just call me, you know, and everyone, maybe. And again, maybe the Joe is more specific, but if she's rejecting all these other potential labels, or at least the presumptive use of them relative to her, then it felt like maybe it's not so much about Joe being specific, and it really is like, you know, just treat me like you would someone you don't know anything about, just, you know, like any person out there, and you wouldn't assume to know anything about them, right? So don't call me sweetheart, don't call me, there was a couple other ones, but like, it wasn't just sweetheart and Mr. I forget in the moment what the other ones were. But yeah, so it's going along, and it's the, you know, a bit of an interesting tune in that it's sort of floaty, but there's an edge to some of the sonics at certain moments. Again, it felt like a tune that you could swap out her voice with Billy Corgan, and, you know, maybe not even a decade, maybe just 6-7 years, because I know like early 90s they were already releasing you know, albums with a major label, and I think they were together before that. But the point is, like, you know, take that to the 90s and you could hear Billy Corgan sing that and like, oh, that's Smashing Pumpkins tune. So it had that, like, it's light and floaty even as it's edgy type of feel. And then there's that sort of brief pause, and it sounds like, oh wait, so was this in front of a live audience? You know, obviously that kind of thing can be put in to create that sound or impression, even if it's not actually live. And indeed, it can be like part of a narrative, like in the tune. But it felt like, okay, maybe that's the end. And then it starts again, and now with this spoken word part, although you still hear her floating, lilty vocals, you know, sort of painting the background. And then it's like, wait, so she's talking about like electrical systems and something about, you know, traffic lights, and okay, something about lasers, and now satellites, and so we're obviously talking like global technology. And it felt like maybe the tenor of her spoken voice was that it was like a critical assessment, or just, you know, talking about the scale and the scope of modern technological contraptions or systems. So it felt a bit ominous, but again, it was like a bit echoed, and it was running at like arrhythmic cross purposes with the floaty like vocals and the rest of the sonics. So it suddenly turned into this sort of whirlwind that was a bit psychedelic and, you know, uncertain as to like, oh wait, what's she talking about? Like, what, it feels much more like potentially ominous or something now. So a really crazy way to end the song and the album. I respect it. It's, you know, it's certainly not just like, oh, just, you know, a nice little tranquil song and a little audience noise. Like, no, there's, you know, this album has been unique enough, but, you know, we're going to end it in a unique way. So, yeah, top marks for an opening album. I mean, people mentioned as I've been going through this with some of the different songs, and to be fair, Troy is definitely one that, like, has stuck with me and I've been continually, excuse me, listening to. But people mentioned that, like, for a debut record, it's like very audacious. It's, you know, it was very bold, and ultimately it's an artist that clearly had a lot to say, like, right from the off. So shout out to Sinead, shout out to the people for, you know, being patient. I obviously took like 2 to 3 weeks off during the holidays. It was my intention to take about 2, and then I was sick a couple times in December, so that sort of extended it. But yeah, I'm trying to get all the different deep dives going again. I do appreciate the patience, and we will keep going with Sinead. So once again, shout out to all the people who've shared her music with me. Let me know what you think of this. I will see you next time. Peace.